Hello people of YouTube, it's Deepak here, and welcome to DCS World 2.8.6 and Razbam Simulation's M2000C Mirage module. Welcome to Tutorial 7, Air-to-Air Cannon. Today we're going to go over the employment of the DEFA 5.54 30mm revolver cannon. We actually have two of these mounted in the Mirage 2000. They're on the underside here, either side of, well actually basically just inboard of the air intakes. I don't know if you can make these out here, but they're actually just either side of this flashing strobe light. We have 125 rounds in each of these cannons, and they're primarily used for air-to-air, but they can also be employed in air-to-ground mode. Now, it's possible to employ these cannons with a radar lock, in which case you'll get quite an advanced kind of reticle style gun symbology in your HUD, but it's also possible to employ the gun without a radar lock, in which case you need to very carefully set the wingspan of your target and use symbology on the HUD to estimate the range to target when you pull the trigger. So, let's jump into the aircraft and let's get started with how you set yourself up to use these weapons. Now, the very first thing you're going to do is your CNM switch, that's Cannon Neutral Magic, you're going to push that in the cannon direction. And as soon as you do that, you've selected the weapon and you have cannon symbology on the HUD. You'll note that just now CAN for cannon is flashing. That does confirm we have the weapon selected, but it's warning us the weapon is not ready. We need to go Master Arm on, and then the cannon will stop flashing. The other thing to note is that you have a separate cannon arming switch down here. In hot start this will already be on, but if you didn't hot start the aircraft, ensure that the gun's safety switch is in the up position, which is for armed. Otherwise the gun will not fire. So, we've selected the gun, we've got Master Arm on, we've got Cannon Arm on. We can now take a little look at some of the settings we have down here on the PPA. We have options for total or partial, as with many weapons. Total will allow you to fire the gun continuously. Partial will engage the burst limiter. Now, the burst limiter is set on the ground, so we need to take a little look at our knee board here and see what we have set. We currently have a 0.5 second burst limiter. If you're on the ground with the engine off, you'd be able to instruct the ground crew to change your burst limiter for you. It's only possible for the ground crew to alter that setting. So we have a 0.5 limiter. I can either have par and I'll get the limiter, or I can leave it in total and I'll be able to just hold the trigger down and fire as much as I like. The other thing that we have down here is we have the fire rate, which is selectable. Lent is for slow, and rapide, I think, is for fast. For air-to-air, you're generally going to leave this in rapide, because that's what you're going to want. Next thing you need to do is set up the gun sight. The controls for the gun sight are here. We need to set the wingspan. Now, we're going to be attacking MiG-29s. They have a wingspan of 11 meters, so I need to set this to just above the 10-meter setting. And then we have options for CCLT or predictive. If we're using a radar lock, we want the predictive gun sight. This is the one that will make use of the ranging information from the radar. And then last thing we're going to want to do is, in most situations, we will use the close combat modes, which we covered in the previous tutorial. So I'm going to use weapon command switch forward, and that puts me into bore sight mode. And I'm now immediately ready to engage with the cannon. And so, with that, let's come around and see if we can engage a target. I'm actually going to cut here, and you'll rejoin me once I'm behind an enemy aircraft. Okay, you rejoin me. I'm inbound some enemies, and I just got an automatic lock, and already some symbology has popped up. So let's go ahead and pause here, and we're going to take a little look at the symbology we now have in the HUD. So first thing to note is that the square, of course, is our current radar target. We have closure rate noted here, and current range. We're currently at 9.8 nautical miles. Now, be advised, the cannon has an effective range in air-to-air of between 600 and 300 meters. That's usually where we want to get our target when we pull the trigger. Note we have the gun cross here, and then we also have this tracer line, which shows us the path of the bullets if we'd been firing continuously over the last X number of seconds. Also, actually, periodically, it puts a little blip along the tracer line. You'll see we've got a dot here and a dot here. This is showing us the actual real-time travel of a bullet if we'd pulled the trigger at that moment. So it gives you this kind of continuous feedback on where you would expect bullets to fall. We also have the two cannons noted down here with how many rounds are currently available in each. 125 rounds and 125 rounds. And then we also have the aircraft's, the target's aspect, along with the kind of intercept queue showing here. So I'm currently set up for an intercept. Let's unpause, and I'm going to continue inbound, and I will intercept and engage this target. I won't cover the radar symbology in the VTB because it's the same as normal. It's just a standard single target track that we've done here. So range is dropping very quickly. I'm going to make sure that I continue to fly to intercept this target. Oh, he's already flaring, so he's seen me. We're getting closer. And as the symbology switches, I'll pause again and let you see what that looks like. We're at 2,000 meters. We've now got the gun cross. Now, actually, it's just off screen. Let me bring it into the screen, and I will pause again. So, right now, the radar lock box is dashed. That's just to indicate that it's outside of the field of view of the HUD. We can actually visually see the aircraft here right now. Here on the range indicator, we're currently at 1,300 meters. That's what that's showing us. And then if I zoom right down on the gun cross itself, you can see it's currently at the end of the tracer line, indicating where rounds would fall in relation to the target at its current range if we had pulled the trigger. Now, the thing to note is that this position is also based on time of flight. So it's not where the rounds would fall if we pulled the trigger now. it's where the rounds would fall at the end of their time of flight if we had pulled the trigger a little bit earlier. So it's a little bit confusing, but roughly you're going to want to put this a little bit ahead of the target to take into account time of flight. Of course, when you're right down at kind of 300 meters and those kinds of ranges, time of flight is very short. Now, let's note these markers on the outside of the gun cross. At 12 o'clock, we have 1,200 meters. It will then start to unwind at ranges below 1,200. Here we have 900 meters. At the bottom, we have 600 meters. And on the right, we have 300 meters. You'll also note that we have this caret, and the caret is the 5-second indicator. So it's basically giving us a visual indication of closure rate. It's telling us at what range the target will be in 5 seconds' time. This can be very, very useful for kind of visualizing the closure rate. Although, of course, we have a number indicating the closure rate here as well. So as you can see, my target is at quite a high aspect to me. I'm going to have to pull quite hard here. Let's see if I can get in behind him. Pull hard, pull hard. Oh, he's actually kind of outmaneuvering me a bit here. And also, I'm likely to black out shortly. I can't pull too hard. Let's see if we can maintain him. He's there. He's in the hut, and we've lost him. He's gone. Just as I thought we were going to get him. Okay, so I was unsuccessful there. Let me reset. Let's see. Oh, actually, yeah, we're just about flying in formation with these chaps. Yes, there they are. They're just off to my left. So let's do that again. Weapon command switch up to get back into bore sight. And let's pick up one of these chaps. This, you know, it's much harder to do this in 2D mode than it would be with the help of VR. But anyway, we're getting closer. We're getting closer. He's flaring. He knows that we're coming for him. Gun cross is getting pretty close to on target. He's in range. Squeeze the trigger. I missed. Let's try again. Squeeze the trigger again. I missed. I'm going to close on him a little bit. Yeah, he's trying to make it difficult for me. Ooh, that was very close. Oh, come on. And there we go. That's a kill. I had to get very close there to actually kill him. And then I can go weapons system command switch up again to break that lock. Something else to note is if I pull... Yeah, I didn't tell you how to actually fire the cannon. You're pulling your weapons trigger to the second detent. If I pull it to the first detent, when I have a lock, it will actually show me time of flight down the tracer line. I'm actually going to fly around just now and see if I can pick up another target. I still have 71 rounds per gun. So I'll see if I can show you the time of flight indicator that we have on the tracer line. And then I'll demonstrate how we do this without a radar lock, because it's also possible to do that. Although it's a bit more difficult. There we go, I picked somebody up. He's at 3,000 meters, decent closure rate. Let's actually come out a burner. Right, I'm going to pull trigger to second detent. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's a series of little dots that appear on the line showing me kind of the time of flight of the cannon rounds if I'd fired at that moment. Well, I've actually lost this guy. So that's actually kind of handy too. Oh, in fact, it does do it without a lock as well. So let's get zoomed in here. I'm going to pull a little bit of G, and I'm going to pull gun trigger, or weapon trigger in fact, to first detent. And there you go. Those are simulated gun rounds. So I can use that to figure out where my rounds would fall. Okay, so next we're going to talk about how we would achieve hits without the radar lock. Now, of course, without radar lock is going to be considerably more difficult. Because I have already set the wingspan, I have these markers on the tracer line. You'll see there's a shorter marker and a wider marker. These correspond to 600 meters and 300 meters. The system is telling me how wide the enemy aircraft will appear at that range with that set wingspan. So 11 meters, which is a MiG-29, it will look to be about this size at 600 meters. It'll look to be about this size at 300 meters. So visually, by comparing the apparent size of the aircraft with these indicators, I place the aircraft on the line where I think it is, between 300 and 600 meters, and then I pull the trigger. And that's all the system is going to do for me without a radar lock. There's a lot less prediction going on. So, if I fly due north just now, I should find somebody to play with. So let's try that. And then I will try to do this without a radar lock, but my chances of success, of course, are going to be much, much lower. What I might even do is I might actually bring up a radar lock and then cancel it, because otherwise I'm going to have a really hard time. There we go, popped it into BA. I did the horizontal scan, so I guess, before I was always saying, what's the point of this horizontal scan? It's a very, very silly thing, but apparently there is, in fact, a point to it. So let's get in a bit closer, and then I will cancel this radar lock. And we'll see if we could score hits just using the visual system. Also, you're going to want to put the system into CCLT if you're doing it without a radar lock. That's the recommendation. And you can see in this mode it's just continuously showing you the time of flight of cannon rounds by sending little simulated cannon rounds down the tracer line the whole time. Okay, 2 miles. He's flaring off. We're actually closing a lot faster. Let's bring the throttle back a bit. Let's get him in a bit closer. Oof! This is going to be very, very hard to do this visually and in 2D mode. But there he is. There he is. And before I actually pull the trigger, I'm going to cancel the lock. This is going to be almost impossible. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I'm holding him. Okay, so he's actually far closer than even the 300 meter mark. Ooh, we're getting thrown around. We're really getting thrown around by slipstream. And I lost it. I lost the shot. I lost the shot. Oh, but he's still here. He's still out in front. So let's see if we can do this visually. He looks to be about the 600 meter mark to me. So I'm going to try and put that closer to him. Oh, now he's near the 300. Oh, that was not bad. That was not bad, but I think my skills are no match. I don't think I'm going to manage to actually get a hit like this. But you can see how it's done. Using the width of the aircraft, you are able to kind of estimate the range. I think that's my low fuel warning. Okay, let's try again. Ooh, not far off. You're going to need longer bursts when you're doing this, because it's a lot harder. And I'm out of ammo. I'm out of ammo. He gets a reprieve. That was fairly close, though. I think that was fairly close. I could have done it. And yeah, what's this warning? Yeah, bingo. There you go. I'm getting low on fuel. So I'm low on fuel, and I've emptied both cannons. Nonetheless, that is how you would do that. That was the DEFA 554 cannon being used in air-to-air mode. What we can do is, of course, we can move our switch back to neutral mode, the CNM switch back to neutral. That deselects the cannon, and you get normal navigational symbology again. We could go master arm off, and if we'd had the safety switch in safe previously, we'd have the option of putting the cannon back into safety. And I'll clear the theta position there as well. So that's us back into normal mode. That is everything to do with operating the cannon in air-to-air mode, both with a radar lock and without. I hope you all enjoyed that. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like and comment. It's a really big help to me and to the channel. If you'd like to further assist or support the channel, you have the option of joining Deepak's ground crew for a small monthly fee by pressing the join button below. Really big shout out to those of you who've already done so. Thank you very much Harish Rajan, Byron Farrow, Storm Kimbari, Channel Wright, Mangash, J.R. Walker, Chandler Hedgevald, Griff Nizzle, Mr. Yeti, Frantic Stone, Bread, Tier Zero, Erdinkirtan, Belly Tapani Corpicanas, Tiger Muto, Sean I Am 81, Charts, and Pink Floyd. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.